Let me ask you something. How is it that nurses are working 36 to 48 hours a week and still living paycheck to paycheck? We went to school, we got our degrees, we followed everything we were taught. But most of us were never taught how to make money outside of the hospital. What if I told you there are side hustles real nurses are doing right now from their couch, their car, or between shifts that are generating $500 to over $5,000 a month? Some of these can be started in a weekend. Some can even grow into full-time businesses. Most, but not all of these, put your RN license to work in ways you were never shown in nursing school. This isn't going to be a get-rich-quick video, but I'm going to show you something you've never been taught in school. Let me show you the 5 nurse side hustles that can change everything, because they changed everything for us. When I first renewed my BLS, I paid $90 and sat in a room watching someone go through a PowerPoint. It lasted 90 minutes. The person running it wasn't even a nurse. She was a paramedic. But since then, I've come across many nurses who were also teaching these classes. That's when it clicked. This wasn't some massive organization. It was just one nurse running a legitimate business, teaching a skill we all have to stay certified in anyway. Nurses who already hold a BLS, ACLS, or PAL certification can become certified instructors and start charging $60 to $150 per person to teach people, groups, or entire departments. You don't need to be a teacher or have an advanced degree. You just need to be certified and willing to teach. This can easily turn into a $1,000 a month business, even if you only run one class per week. So why does this work for nurses? First of all, you're already certified in BLS and ACLS anyway, so why not teach it? People prefer learning from fellow nurses. You can train individuals, groups, caregivers, or even daycares and local businesses. It's also high margin, low cost, and high demand. And you can build it slowly by starting with one-on-one sessions or going mobile and visiting the students at a location of their choice. And when you tie this into a tax strategy, nurses running CPR or ACLS training businesses are considered small business owners. That comes with its own tax advantages because CPR dummies, AEDs, or automated external defibrillators and mannequins are tax-deductible business equipment. You can also write off gas, mileage, and travel to and from your client homes or facilities. Your instructor certification cost is also deductible, and any booking software like Calendly, CPR cards, and student manuals are also tax deductible. If you manage any scheduling from home, a portion of your rent or your mortgage, your internet, and your electricity turns into a write-off. And the IRS doesn't see you as just a nurse. They see you as a training provider. This is going to take you from just a few deductions that you can take as an employee to a completely new level as a business owner. So here's what you need to do to get started. First, you need to get certified as a CPR or ACLS instructor through the American Heart Association or AHA or the Red Cross. And you need to purchase a starter mannequin, an AED trainer, and a course book bundle. All of this is going to cost you around $500 to $700 in total. You also need to offer in-home private sessions or pop-up training events for your coworkers or your local businesses. And you can use a booking tool like Calendly or Wix for scheduling. Then you need to make sure you track every single expense from day one. And I would use a separate checking account for all of these transactions that are related to the business. It's going to make your life so much easier, or your accountant, when it comes to tax season. Once you've built up momentum as a certified instructor, you can take it to another level. The AHA offers advanced pathways for instructors to become official training sites and eventually training centers. Training sites can issue their own AHA certification cards. In order to become an AHA training center, you're going to need to teach AHA courses regularly. You need to have a business license, and you have to have 5 or more instructors on your team. You also need to certify at least 250 students per year. That's only 5 students per week. Then you need to make sure you own your own equipment and use the AHA instructor network. Over time, usually after 5 to 10 years as a training site, the AHA may consider awarding you full training center status, which means you're the one who is overseeing instructors and issuing cards directly. This turns a simple side hustle into a certified training business that hospitals, EMS, fire departments, and larger companies will look to so they can get their staff certified. So this isn't just a way to make $100 here and there. This is a business. You're giving people a life-saving skill, and in return, you're building a brand, taking advantage of tax laws, and creating something that can be bigger than you could ever imagine. And if you want to go big, just start with your CPR card. You grow it into a training site, and one day you could be the AHA training center that every nurse in your city relies on. When I first heard about nurses making money on Etsy, I had the wrong impression. I thought it was just for people who knew how to knit or draw. But then I saw a nurse making $80,000 a month selling printable study guides. You heard that right. Not bedside care, digital PDFs. That's when I realized this was way more serious. If you've ever made a care plan, explained a disease process to a confused family member, or made a medical surgical concept easier for your coworker to understand, you have the type of knowledge that people will pay for. All you need to do is package it up, turn it into a product, and sell it over and over again. As a nurse, you already have content in your head. You just need to organize it. So sites like Canva make it easy to design study guides, trackers, cheat sheets, and platforms like Etsy, Gumroad, or Notion allow you to sell these digital products without shipping anything. And nurses and students are constantly looking for educational tools, and you already speak their language. So once you start selling even one download, that's already considered business income. And guess what comes with that? You can now write off your Canva Pro subscription. Your home office is now a tax write-off. And if you don't know how to draw or design your own PDFs, then hiring a freelancer on Fiverr or Upwork is also a tax write-off. And the YouTube Premium or Skillshare subscription that you use to learn how to make these, yes, you can write that off too. And here's one tip I'll give you, and it's something I did when I started selling my spreadsheets. Start with just one product, maybe an NCLEX pharmacology cheat sheet, or a new grad nurse shift report, or a simple weekly budget for nurses who hate math. Then test it on Etsy or Gumroad. But I recommend you create an Instagram or TikTok account and make videos talking about your product. And if people buy it, keep going, add more, improve, and repeat. Listen, you're already teaching people every time you precept. You're already organizing your thoughts and work every time you show up for a shift. So package your brain into a digital product and get paid for it while you sleep instead. Alright, this next side hustle is one that seems to fly under the radar and not many nurses know about it, but it's actually a perfect fit for nurses in any specialty. It's called remote chart review or insurance audits. And here's how it works. Insurance companies and third-party review companies need licensed nurses to look over medical records and determine if treatments were appropriate or not. Also, if documentations meet guidelines, or if a case qualifies for reimbursements. You don't need to be in a specific specialty. You just need to know how to read a chart and understand basic clinical reasoning. Most of us already do that every single shift. These companies usually offer training, and you can do it completely from your home, on your own time. Some nurses do this on their days off. Others have turned it into a full-time remote career. But why does this work specifically for nurses? It works in any specialty. It's flexible and remote. It requires no extra certification, and you already have the skill set that's needed for this field. But let's talk about tax strategy for this specific side hustle. This can be a business if you structure it right. If you have a home office, work from home will be tax deductible. Any office supplies, office chairs, any computers, laptops, or external monitors you buy will be tax deductible. If you use Zoom or pay for any other communication tools, those will be tax deductible. This is the kind of hustle that won't burn you out and still puts your license to work from the comfort of your own home. All right, so let's talk about this next side hustle. Now, I didn't do this one personally, but one of my close friends, and he's not even a nurse, he's a tech, started a mobile lab testing business that's now evolved into a full-blown healthcare operation. He started by reaching out to local clinics and telling them that he could do lab draws for their patients, cheaper than what they were already paying to big name companies. He hired someone on Fiverr to draft up contracts with these clinics. He got a few yes responses, and then it snowballed into something bigger. Today, he offers not just lab testing, but genetic testing, drug testing, and even wound care using placental tissue. Can you believe that? Like, this is not something most of us even think about. He has now partnered up with a physician and employs RNs and NPs. But why does this one work for nurses? As a nurse, you don't even need a separate phlebotomy license. Your license already covers it. You can also start small, like a small independent clinic that only has a few patients. There's also huge demand right now for in-home lab services because some of our disabled or elderly patients find it challenging having to travel to a lab that's far away from their house. And this is a seriously scalable business model. This side hustle can become a full-blown business. And when that happens, the tax savings you'll have can be exponential. Any contracts, legal help, and supplies that you have to pay for are tax deductible. Your car mileage to house calls is deductible. Even a portion of your home, if you're running administrative duties or coordinating appointments directly from your home, are tax deductible. And the best part is that if you scale, you can hire other nurses, techs, phlebotomists, or partner up with a physician when you take it to an even higher level. Eventually, you'll be creating jobs, not just side income. All right, so in order to start your mobile lab business, what you're going to have to do is reach out to local clinics and pitch your service. You can either email them or walk directly into these clinics. You're also going to need to use a service like Fiverr or Upwork, or even hire a legal attorney to get contracts drafted at an affordable price. My coworker only paid about $10 to $20 per contract on Fiverr. Then you need to find a physician who's willing to collaborate with you to plan and expand into the clinical care side of things. And make sure that you read up on your state's scope of practice rules and follow them to a T if you don't want to get shut down. You know, your RN license is a lot more powerful than you think. This is one of those hustles where if you're organized, good with people, and willing to talk to people you've never met, then you can build a business that out-earns your current job. All right, you probably knew where I was going with this one, but I can never recommend it enough. I uploaded the first video on our YouTube channel in 2021. For 6 months, our subscribers slowly trickled in. We got monetized that year and made a whopping $93 per month. But by the next year, we were making $926 per month. In 2023, we were just under $3,000 per month. In 2024, we doubled our income to a little over $6,000 per month. So the key to this one is that if there is something that you absolutely cannot stop thinking or talking about, you can create content about it, because I promise you this, other people will be interested in it too. And if you do this consistently, you can get paid, not just from views, but from sponsorships, affiliate links, and products or services that you offer. But why is this a great business or side hustle for nurses? For one, you're already a source of information. Again, I said it before, you're precepting. You're providing a lot of teaching to your patients. You're working in your specialty long enough to know the ins and outs of it. People are always interested in things like nurse stories, financial advice, NCLEX tips, and tips on finding a nursing job. And it doesn't matter how or where you film it. You can film in your car, after your shift, in your scrubs. It's more authentic that way anyway. And just look at people like Nurse John or Nurse Scrub Hacks Lindsay. The content never expires. It works while you sleep. I have videos on YouTube that I posted 3 years ago, which are still producing income till this day. And you know what? When it comes to taxes, content creation becomes a gold mine for tax strategy, and it's one of the best ones in my opinion. Your camera, your studio equipment, your lighting, the laptop that you purchased, anything you use to make videos is tax deductible. Editing software, thumbnails, virtual assistant help is tax deductible. I currently have a video editor who edits all of my videos, but I also used to have a virtual assistant who would find nurses for me to interview in my Road to Fire podcast. I've also previously hired a thumbnail editor to edit all of my YouTube thumbnails. All of these things are deductible. And again, even parts of your home, if you film there, become a tax write-off. You don't need 1 million followers. You just need 1,000 fans and an offer or something of value that you will give them in every single video. And here's a couple of tips that I have for you. You can use a tool like TubeBuddy or vidIQ to find topics that everyone is searching for. Also, try to film 3 to 4 videos at once so you won't get burned out trying to film one video every single week. And if you make short form videos, post those same shorts on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube so you don't have to film different content for each platform. And make sure that you create evergreen content. These videos are videos that make money long after you post. An example of this is going to be what all nurses should know about in the ICU, as opposed to Happy Nurses Week 2025. The first video can be watched by nurses for years and years to come, but the second video will only be interesting for a few weeks. And here's what I know. Every nurse I've met and worked with is smart enough to do any one of these things. Heck, in one of these examples that I mentioned, a tech I know is running a company where he manages other advanced practice nurses. But the problem is that not every nurse believes they can do this. And that belief is the only thing standing in the way. So if this video helped you in any way, even if it just sparked a little curiosity, then you should definitely watch this next video here where I break down how Monica and I worked 20 hours a week last year and still made over $330,000 while running multiple other side hustles.